Have you ever had fresh tuna? It's great. We've all had tuna fish sandwiches, but fresh tuna is a subject altogether very different. And I'm going to show you a nice preparation with spaghetti today. But first, I want to show you how to preserve tuna. And to do it, you want to start with a wonderful piece of fresh tuna. This is about 1/2 pound of fresh tuna. Isn't that beautiful? And, well, I love this many ways, but this is my favorite way. And I want to preserve the tuna first, so you really have to think about making this dish ahead of time or getting the tuna preserved ahead of time. And what I want to do is have a clean, sterilized jar, just like this, you see? And then I take this tuna and I put it into some water. So I've got some water on the stove just simmering. And I want some bay leaf. So my tuna goes into the water, just like that, with a lemon that you have cut up. You see? Just put a lemon in with that, and a couple bay leaves. And this you want to simmer just for about 20 or 25 minutes. You can also add a little bit of salt to the water with that. And keep your eye on that. And now I'm ready to take that tuna out. And you see, I want to cook this just until I can flake this with a fork. So there's my tuna. And now I just want to cut this up. You want to cut it up into chunks. Sometimes I leave this in a whole piece, but I'm going to cut it up into pieces. And then you want to have a sterilized jar ready. And here's mine. And all I do is put the pieces of tuna in the jar. Now this is an old method, an old Italian method that I learned when I was in Sicily from Il Capo Cuoco Mario, the head chef Mario, who is on the farm in Regagliali. And then I add extra virgin olive oil to the jar. You see? I want to completely submerge the tuna in the oil. And I press down, and then I add, you don't have to put this in, but I like to add sometimes, some black peppercorns, whole peppercorns. And sometimes I add a bay leaf to this. You can add a little bit of salt as well, you see? And cover the jar with olive oil. So you cap it, and the next day, put this off to the side. Let this stay out at room temperature. Cap it, and the next day, go back and look at it and make sure that none of the oil or none of the tuna is poking through the oil. If it is, you need to add more oil. Now, here's one that I did a couple months ago. This has been in my refrigerator. I'm going to open it for you now. You see? And let me get a fork and show you what's going on here. Here's a nice bay leaf that I put in, you see? And let me just bring up a piece of that now. And there, look at how beautiful that, and it's perfectly preserved. But it's important that you submerge it in the olive oil. Then, after you are sure that olive oil is completely covering that, you put it in the refrigerator. See, and that's what happens to it. When it is in the refrigerator, it will congeal, of course, because it's cold. The oil will congeal. But when you bring it out and leave it at room temperature, it will come back to its wonderful looking state. Okay, now that you know that, we can go on to the dish. So, what you have to do is take that tuna, and I'm going to just use my fingers now because my hands are clean. Take it out of the jar, and you want that whole 1/2 pound, and then just chop it up into pieces because this is going to go right into your sauce. You see? Just like that. Just cut it up into pieces. And then you have ready in a frying pan. Get out another frying pan. And here's where this is very clever because you do not waste the oil that you used with the tuna. You take some of this oil. Take some of this oil that the tuna was preserved in, because you're going to use the whole thing, of course, and put it in your pan, a little bit of the oil. about a half of a cup. I'm not going to cut up all the tuna for you, but use the whole thing. And then you want to put in some garlic and an onion. This is how Mario does it. You want to get that soft. Get the onion soft. Then you're going to add the tuna to this. So now while this is getting soft, I have to talk to you about the other important ingredient to this. So let me move this over now and just clean up the decks here for a minute. Because this just isn't tuna with spaghetti. This is tuna with fresh tuna and Tuna Roe, which are the fish eggs, of course, of tuna, known as botarga. And here's how it comes. You see, like this. When you buy it, it's vacuum sealed. The eggs are taken right from the tuna right after the tuna is caught. Then it's dried and salted and vacuum packed. Then you can grate it. This has a very fishy, salty taste. But it is what gives this dish its absolute wonderful flavor. So you want to grate up not much. You need about 2 tablespoons of the Tuna Roe. So I just use a cheese grater to grate it. Some parsley, about 1/3 of a cup. Another good dose of hot red pepper flakes. Some coarse black pepper. And a little bit of salt. This is unlike any canned tuna you will ever eat. So now the tuna goes in. You really want to make sure that's well mixed with the ingredients. Let me see where we are on pasta, because I hear it sizzling back here. Let me see. Okay, well, we're not there yet. Almost. Okay. Okay. Now, this goes right over the top. Oh, I wish you could smell this.